We spent our first night in Rachel, Nevada. You know it as Area 51. Our last visit in 2010 was such a fun stay, we decided to return, and just like our last visit, accommodations were great. The staff friendly, and very helpful to find famous locations, such as the Black Mailbox, where you can leave messages for the visiting aliens, and the infamous Back Gate Photo Op. Few things have changed since our last visit. We found a geocache just inside the door, and the addition of a few monuments. This one honoring the mining history of the area. 20th Century Fox placed one for the film location of the movie Independence Day. That's the one starring Will Smith and Jeff Goldblum. Within the monument is a time capsule to be opened in 2050. Also, the development of the reconnaissance aircraft A-12, identified as Project Oxcart. The A-12 was developed to replace the U-2 and was the predecessor to the SR-71 Blackbird. Yep, a lot of cool stuff happens in Area 51. Unfortunately, the iconic extraterrestrial highway sign on the east side of Highway 375 is now missing. The morning's clear and warm. With the help of monsoonal moisture in the afternoon, we had dark clouds and rain. The route we chose was Scenic Byway 12 through Red Arch Canyon with its dual arches. Our next roadside stop provided a history lesson on how to make a shortcut difficult by lifting wagons and livestock up and over a 1,200-foot cliff. From this vantage point, you can see all the way to Navajo Mountain on the Utah-Arizona border, and the maze of deep winding canyons that form the Escalante River Basin. Another hour up the road and the altitude changed the landscape from scrub brush and desert to pine trees and green meadows. Talk about your diversity. We slid back down the hill into the Capitol Reef National Park, where we stopped to check out some panels of petroglyphs found along the Fremont River. Got gas at some hole-in-the-mountain gas station. And went in search of Lake Powell. Nope, not here. We found the lake at Height Overlook, high above the Colorado River where it enters Lake Powell. The flat structure in the distance are launch ramps for boats. The lake is looking a little low. Crossing the Colorado River, we stayed north of Monument Valley and its sandstone buttes. Then a side trip for a visit at Natural Bridges National Park. Giving our backsides a break, we decided to enjoy a half-mile hike to Sipapu Bridge. On the way down to Sipapu, I started to realize the 500-foot elevation change wasn't an easy slope, but vertical. Down ladders, rock steps, then across cliff faces with sketchy footing. The views were grand, and the bridge itself, spanning 268 feet at a height of 220 feet, it's the biggest in the park. The climb back up?
Sure. 500 feet, they said. Half a mile. You'd be done in a half an hour for the whole loop. They lied. One of them that are in shape.
Back on the road, our next stop, a museum in Durango, Colorado. The museum in Old Town Durango houses transportation exhibits. You'll find military-themed items, an extensive model train collection, and in case you get bored, there's swimmies. Up the hill in the town of Silverton, we stopped for lunch at the Lone Spur Cafe, complete with piano player. A train room, and a bullet in the bar. Now, as the story in the menu suggests, it was Bat Masterson who discharged his weapon and lodged a bullet above the bar. This scenic stretch of road is called the $1 Million Highway. Why? Not really sure. Might be because the residents thought it was a big waste of money, or the amount of metal ore reclaimed during the building of the highway. The town of Fairplay loves a good buddy story. 2 of them, in fact. This is a monument for prunes. A burrow companion of 20 years to miner Rupert Sherwood, who said he would trust prunes over any man. And burrow shorty and dog companion Bum, who were the town mooches. As the story goes, when Shorty the burrow died, his buddy Bum the dog never left his side and soon succumbed to a broken heart. Continuing north into Breckenridge, we came across some interesting tracks. Followed a trail, we discovered Isaac Hartstone, a 15-foot troll. Artist Thomas Dambu, using wood scraps, built Isaac back in 2019. The road led us back into the monsoon and put us in Kremlin, Colorado, where they have their very own Lady Liberty. After receiving weather alerts, we decided to stop for the night and watch the river outside our hotel room. Next morning, we rode out of the rain and into Laramie, Wyoming, to an ominous-looking place with a pretty good tour guide.
Hi, I'm Taylor Hensel. I am a seasonal tour guide here at Wyoming Territorial Prison Museum here in Laramie, Wyoming. Welcome, and I'm going to be telling you a little bit about the prison's history today.
Taylor, the tour guide, shared some backstories about a few of the residents, such as the youngest inmate, the cigar maker, husband and wife convicted of murder, and a couple of very suspicious looking characters. The prison tour included the women's section, dentist office, infirmary. This is the bathroom. The laundry, and the cell block, where 2 dogs agreed to play Vanna White cell block style. Being in the cell block wasn't too bad until I heard the creepiest sound I have ever heard.
Hands at your sides, 3 steps back from the door.
The locking of the cell doors. That just noped me right out of any offer to an overnight stay.
Hands at your sides, 3 steps back, unlocking 3.
The most famous inmate of the territorial prison was Butch Cassidy, which they dedicated a whole wing to. The outbuildings exhibited local history of farm machinery. As part of the museum, there were some highlights from the University of Wyoming. Looking at this exhibit, the university seemed pretty proud of being able to put a hole in a live cow so they could stick their hand in it. I just want to know who lost the bet and had to stick their hand in the cow. Like I said, if it ain't weird, it ain't worth stopping. Other buildings associated with the prison museum are the warden's house, and the house made from a train boxcar. Who could pass up an iconic western shot of sitting in the back of a horse-drawn paddy wagon headed for the big house across the river? Back on the road in an area heavy in western expansion history, we found hints of the Orogen Trail. The signage identifies what was there, but not exactly why. Just outside the town of Fort Laramie are actual ruts the wagons made on their way west. Why so deep? You run 500,000 people through the same spot and it will eventually show somewhere. Register Cliff is just east of the ruts, and it's where the travelers left their names to prove they made it that far. Over the years, others have also left a mark, and now it's unclear what is current and what's historic. The cave was used as a root cellar to keep foodstuffs cool while travelers rested. Turn around, and you'll find a Pony Express marker indicating an express station that stood there. From there, we found a night stop in Sturgis, South Dakota. The hotel is on Main Street, just a block from the Motorcycle Museum. The brick project used to collect funds for the museum has names of people far and near who donated to make the museum possible. We've been told that Sturgis is the center of the biker world, but did you know that Sturgis neighboring town Belle Fourche is the center of the U.S.? Close to the Wyoming, South Dakota, Montana borders, the town of Alzada is home to a Sturgis Bradley watering hole, the Stoneville Saloon, where the drinks are cheap and the food's lousy. Tuesdays are topless? Why would anyone want to see me topless? On Wyoming Highway 14, we stopped to say goodbye to a storm we were running away from. And along Shell Creek, we checked out Shell Falls. Would you look at that? The town of Greybull hung out their welcome sign for us. So we stopped at Bob's Diner and Bakery, where the food was just as delightful as their unique descriptions of ingredients. In the Wind River area, we saw rafters on the Bighorn River. We discovered that Idaho Highway 30 follows the actual Orogen Trail. Historical markers point out the obstacles and hardships the travelers encountered during the 2,000-mile trek west. At each of the cutoffs, or branches from the main trail, the parting of the way markers were placed to commemorate the relationships forged during the 4 to 5 month trek from Missouri to Oregon. This marker is located near South Pass in Wyoming. It identifies the parties who said a tearful goodbye, as we do now. Did you see what I did there? I used a parting of the ways to end the video and never mind. I'm Shane Lawton Slager. Ride safe.